southern region in Florida,
Reyes.
and he's a real nice guy, real soft-spoken, real quiet guy, but a lot of fun, and a great bowling talent.
Now, semifinal number 2, Tony Reyes versus Ritchie Allen.
Hold.
And it did hold.
Did a holding call out there on Super Bowl Sunday?
Yo, Tony, talk that talk.
Tony, he had his Oakland Raiders shirt on, I must admit.
Tony's motto today, just win, baby.
That's right.
Oakland Raider fan Al Davis, come on.
And here's Ritchie Allen out of Tulsa, Oklahoma, just 23 years old. Yeah, and we got to say, though, Ritchie is really feeling under the weather. We talked about an hour and a half ago. He had a sore throat, the aches and pains. It's been that way for a week, but what a week he had. How about 9-2 in match play? That's the best of anybody.
Hey, you know what, Ron? One of my old coaches, Fred Borden, the great Fred Borden out of Akron, I'd come back to him looking at him with a cut on my finger, and he'd say, hey, Randy, just spit on it and throw strikes. This is no time to look for a Band-Aid, man. You got to suck it up and get after it. And that's exactly what this guy's going to do, trust me.
Well, that's what he was telling us. He said, I can't worry about that now. I don't have any control over it. Let's just go out. But how about great poise is what he showed against Walter Ray Williams Jr. in the round of 32. That's Brian and Mary Ann Clark. Ritchie's mom and stepdad. His father lives in Florida. Bill said his dad was extremely pleased when he called him down in Florida about it. He gives her something to be pleased about with a strike.
And these guys are learning. You see Ritchie Allen's playing further right than he did in practice. Something's developed from the time the guys started practicing to the time they finished, to the time we went on the air. The lanes have changed. The guys are moving right. Ritchie Allen's using 2 different balls. Thanks, Paul Kaler, my statistician, our statistician. Gives us the great info. Always gives you great info.
That's all. I take it all the time. Now, again, Tony has switched balls again.
Heel.
The ball does not have ears. It didn't hear a word he said.
See, and that's the one thing you can't do when you're going straight like that. Your mistake area has to be to the left. It can't be to the right.
You bring up a good point, because Tony Reyes has always told us that when he bowls in a TV final, he just wants to give himself chances.
Slide the 2 over.
Oh, close. Well, he left the second open in the first match, and he leaves the second open in the second match. Our PBA Tour question of the week. Well, Tony has switch balls in his first match. When do you know when to switch? Thank you, Tracy Hurd of Charlotte, North Carolina, for logging on to PBA.com, giving us that. Randy, give us the answer.
Well, when your ball is going in the V direction. One shot goes right, one shot goes left, and it's never doing the same thing consistently from point A to point B. You got to get a ball in your hand that, number one, clears the front end and then retains enough energy to hook in the back end. And you can tell, if you throw a shot that feels good out of your hand and it does something completely crazy down the lane, you're not using the right equipment.
You don't think these guys are working hard, folks. Just you look at Tony Reyes. It has been a long week. And Ritchie Allen, second year on the PBA Tour. He became such the crowd favorite yesterday. When I walked into the center and I hear everybody yelling and screaming, they sort of took this young man under his wings. He loved it.
Well, he's done a lot of bowling in this area, and, just grew up not too far from here, 4 hours up 35 into Tulsa, 4 or 5 hours away.
It's time to finally refresh your bathroom and create a space you'll love. Get started. Floor & Decor can help.
Oh, no. They're implementing another...
Very unique style, Ritchie Allen. If we can get a shot of it, his feet are actually almost all the way off the back of the approach. And you look at the 2 different styles. Tony Reyes, being 6'2", 6'3", stands up at the first row of dots, takes those short steps. Ritchie Allen, 5'9", uses the full length of the approach. The reason why, smaller person, uses his body and his legs to create power.
About a 90-pound difference in the 2. There he finds the pocket as we take a look at the other scores from around the top 16. Del Ballard Jr. from right here in Dallas. And in fact, Ritchie Allen gives Del Ballard a lot of credit. He says he's known him for a long time, and Del noticed that his ball was rolling funny. He threw an inverted track, and Ballard got him out of that.
Worked on his release and his hand position.
Now Tony has switched balls again.
Switching back. That's the one thing you got to do in a one-game match. You can't be afraid to make changes. A little fast. Got the ball right. And one thing you got to guard against. I mean, he's got a little adrenaline going right now, Ron. You know, he knows he's one match away from the title match. 1, 2, 4, 6, 10. All right, take a deep breath and regroup.
Well, he wanted to start out slow and then become more aggressive. I think it's time to flip that switch.
Well, again, you know, when you're aggressive and when you're going straighter, that's fine. Again, you cannot miss right. The ball will never hook back from it. You miss right when you're throwing the big curve. You're throwing the big hook, you're playing way in, then you miss right, not left. When you're throwing it straight, your mistake area has to be to the left.
Well, the difference is the right and the left lanes, having much more success on the left. Except for there.
And that's just the residue of the shot on the right lane. Misses the head pin on the right lane. Next thing you know, he gets on the left lane and says, okay, I'm not going to make a mistake to the right, overcompensates, and this ball's pulled left.
Never comes back, you're right. Goes off the cliff.
Gets right, it goes off the cliff, a little bit too far to the left, it goes right through the schnoz. Ooh, my.
Oh, jeez, he chopped us.
Well, he said he wanted to keep his heart rate down. That's not going to help that situation any. The frustration of Tony Reyes, mad at himself, but Ritchie Allen, the cool as a cucumber at times, because a temper has been his problem up until a couple of years ago. And we'll tell you about that in a second. Leading by 40, he goes up some more. You know, back in Dallas in 2001, he needed a strike in the 10th to win. Struck on the first, left 5 in a second. He punched the scoring monitor, Randy. Injured his tendons in his right wrist. Kept him off the first half of the tour in 2001, 2002. And he said to us, he said, boy, if there was a defining moment in my life, it was that. I learned that when adversity hits, you can't go around punching scoring monitors.
Well, it's part of, maturing out here on tour. And you know, I think the interesting thing that we need to talk about is, that Ritchie Allen's a natural left-hander.
Well, he adds to the lead. It was 50 coming into that. He goes up 10 more. He leads by 60. Both players looking for their first PBA Tour title. So Ritchie Allen is in the driver's seat. Rick Steelsmith has already made it to the finals. Tony Reyes and Ritchie Allen would love to join him. Both players want their first PBA Tour win, but right now Ritchie Allen is up by 60 pins, and while we were gone, Tony Reyes spared in the 6th, struck in the 7th, and this is Ritchie Allen in the 7th, working on 3 in a row. And you mentioned that he was a natural left-hander, Randy.
Nice shot there, leaving the ring at 10. Ritchie Allen bowled left-handed up until the 2nd grade. He broke his left hand and started to bowl right-handed. Unfortunately, the cast was on his hand for 6 months. He got so good bowling right-handed, he just stayed with it.
That'll work. Yeah, he's won over $15,000 this year. Has a chance to almost triple that. Now back to live action. Ritchie Allen just strikes in the 8th.
So Allen spared the 7th.
Boy, he did this with a vengeance.
Take a look at this shot here. Gets this ball in what we call the swish zone. Right around the 4th arrow. Watch the action of the head pin and this reaction. He's got that evil look on.
There's Tony Reyes that we saw in the opening wild card match. He defeated Emiliano Monticelli. Well, our upcoming stops on the PBA Tour. Next week, we make our way to the Tar Heel Open in North Carolina at the Country Club Lanes West in North Carolina, 12:30 Eastern Time, our air time. Then we head up to Latham, New York on February the 17th. Likewise, 12:30 Eastern Time. Then we head to Erie, Pennsylvania for February 24th for the Eastway Lanes PBA Flagship Open. Hope you join us for each and every Sunday at 12:30 right here on ESPN.
Yeah, that's a good shot from Tony Reyes. And even though
It's like my first time on the show right now.
Tony Reyes could strike out for 200, Ritchie Allen's going at a 2:19 pace, so barring any unforeseen accidents, Ritchie Allen's going to advance, well, for the title against Rick Steelsmith. But you know what? I still like what Tony Reyes is doing with his game. His change. He wants to send a special thanks out to Coco, Don Johnson. It looks real good, and it just makes sense of what he's trying to do with his swing. A spare here in good count in the 10th frame. Ritchie Allen's going to advance.
And once again, $40,000 first place prize check. Second place, $20,000. That would double what he has made on the tour this season.
And Ron, we just want to send out some condolences to PBA champion Dave Traber, who unfortunately lost his father last week.
Absolutely.
Dave, the PBA family wants to wish you the best. And also, on the flip side, we'd like to send congratulations out to Justin Romick and his wife. They just had a brand new baby boy, Matthew Davis. Congratulations, Justin and Christy.
Future PBA Hall of Famer there, coming up on the tour. Well, he needs basically 6 pins here in the 10th, and it's all over. And young Ritchie Allen will be playing for his first PBA Tour title. Take a deep breath, big guy. You're in. You got to love these youngsters. We had Brett Wolf, of course, a couple of weeks ago. Tommy last week. We're seeing such great young players. The stars are coming out.
They've got a lot of experience through the amateur bowling, through collegiate bowling.
And our finals are set. Our winner is Ritchie Allen. It'll be Allen and Rick Steelsmith for the finals and the $40,000 first place check. We'll return to Dallas on ESPN right after.